Right, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, and we are now delighted to be joined over the telephone by His Excellency Ambassador Medhat Melegy, the former Assistant to Foreign Minister. It's a very good afternoon to you, Mr. Ambassador.
Good afternoon to you.
Thank you so much, sir, for your time this afternoon. Your Excellency, now first and foremost, let's talk a bit about the significance of the United Nations General Assembly's adoption of the resolution in supporting the New York Declaration of the two-state solution. How important do you see this development, sir?
Well, actually, I think it's a very important decision by the United Nations, by the General Assembly of the United Nations. Let's not forget this is not just something that emerged overnight. Actually, the New York Declaration on the two-state solution, it was drafted during a high-level international conference last July, co-chaired by France and Saudi Arabia. So this 7-page document is now becoming a concrete document of the General Assembly after its adoption. It's an irreversible resolution, and the most important thing is time-bound steps to end the war in Gaza and to relaunch a genuine process towards the two states. However, I think it's very important to understand that any resolution from the United Nations, although it's very important, but it's bound by the political will of the countries. So now we know that we have the whole world community consisting of 142 nations who have voted in favor. Of course, we have to count also 12 countries who abstained and 10 who rejected the idea, which is mainly the United States and Israel, putting those two countries to become, in a certain way, like pariah states when it regards the world community and their decisions. So we have two countries who are totally against. Of course, there are some other countries who do not have the same weight of Israel and the United States. So we have the whole world on one hand who is deciding something while two countries are deciding differently. And this is the important thing, that without the consent of Israel and the United States to establish a second state, this will not see the light. Just yesterday we heard the Prime Minister of Israel, Mr. Netanyahu, talking that there will never be a Palestinian state and that this land is ours, once again reviving the idea of the greater Israel that he was dreaming of and having illusions about. So I think that we are in a real dilemma, because now we have a plan that is now becoming an official document of the United Nations, while we have two countries who are opposing this idea. And there's, I think, one very important issue, which is regarding the weapons and the existence of the resistance movement, especially Hamas. And I think that we will not need this group or the weapons of these groups if we are really going to have, as according and stated by the declaration, we will have a unified Palestinian government between Gaza and the West Bank under a single legitimate authority, and that we are going to have a Palestinian state on the borders of 1967 with East Jerusalem as its capital. So I think this by itself, if executed and implemented, will actually I mean, we do not necessitate a resistance movement in this situation. So I mean, the whole document has to be taken as one document, and this is the most important thing. If we can press Israel and before that the United States to comply with the international law and with this resolution that came out of the General Assembly of the United Nations, then we don't need to have any resistance movements in Palestine, or actually also in the other territories that have been occupied by Israel, and we can mainly talk about Lebanon and Syria. Let's not forget that there are now also occupied territories in both these countries. The idea is to have a peaceful Israel who wants to live peacefully with its neighbor within decide and define borders.
Yes.
Israel until today, and since its creation in 1948, never wanted to recognize and to actually let the world know where are its frontiers or where does it end, because it keep on annexing land, occupying lands that belong to Arab countries in order to get bigger and to build settlements in these lands. And this is the problem, as I said from the beginning, which is the absence of a real and serious political will from the part of Israel, of course, backed up by the United States.
Absolutely. I'd like to thank you very, very much, Your Excellency, Ambassador Medhat Melegy, the former Assistant to the Foreign Minister. Thank you so much, sir, for all your insights and for joining us today on Cairo Local Time. We move to more news, where Egypt's Ambassador to the United Nations, Osama Abdel Khaled, told the UN Security Council special session held on Thursday following the Israeli attack on Qatar that Qatar's security is part of Egypt's and collective Arab national security. We have the details in this report.
Egypt's ambassador to the United Nations, Osama Abdel Khaled, told the United Nations Secretary Council's special session held on Thursday following the Israeli attack on Qatar that Qatar's security is part of Egypt's and collective Arab national security. In a strong-worded short speech, Abdel Khaled reiterated Egypt's firm denunciation of Israel's recent attack on Qatar as a blatant violation of the UN Charter. He described Israel's ongoing aggression against Gaza as an act of genocide and an attempt to displace Palestinians from Gaza by force. Abdel Khaled also warned that unless the Security Council and the international community take decisive action to deter Israel, it will continue its extremist policies and breaches of international law. He said Cairo fully stands in solidarity with Qatar, stressing that Egypt's tireless mediation efforts to end the Israeli war on Gaza deserve recognition and support. Abdel Khaled stated that Egypt further stresses that international law and the United Nations Charter guarantee Qatar and other Arab states subjected to similar Israeli aggression all options to respond to such acts, which the Security Council cannot simply ignore. He highlighted that the Israeli attack had targeted Qatar, which, along with Egypt, has been tirelessly working to reach an agreement. Abdel Khaled added that the airstrike struck at a meeting intended to discuss the latest ceasefire proposal, thus complicating negotiations and reducing the chances of reaching a solution. He called for increasing the efforts to end Israel's devastating war on Gaza, which has claimed the lives of more than 64,000 people, saving Gaza's population from famine and putting an end to the Israeli occupation's violence and annexation practices in the West Bank and East Jerusalem.